My name is Mehrnoosh. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Washington. My title is generally a psychotherapist. Because I come from a very psychological background. I have a Master of Science in Psychology, and so that's kind of my orientation and how I approach therapy with my clients. And a little bit about myself, kind of eclectic in a sense there. It all depends on the season, to be totally honest with you. And so during the summertime, I do a lot of traveling, taking road trips, seeing new cities. I love exploring new places that I've never been before, and especially trying the food. I'm a big foodie, and so like trying different types of food and different things is really big for me because I'm a curious person at heart. And overall, I just really enjoy investing in my community as well. I spend a lot of time volunteering for nonprofits, both statewide and local. So the areas that I specialize in and just what motivates me involves a lot of different factors. At the heart of it, I specialize in psychotherapy, and I do that from a psychodynamic, kind of a cognitive behavioral therapy approach. I'm also certified in dialectical behavioral therapy and also a little known type of therapy called metacognitive therapy as well, for those individuals that suffer from the effects of trauma exposure specifically, and mood disorders. And then through that, I've actually come to work with a lot of individuals that live with borderline personality disorder. As I was mentioning before, I have a lot of primary motivations. I focus in this area, namely kind of as a kind of a golden thread from grad school. I mentioned earlier that I have a MS in psychology, and I focused in my research there on adverse childhood experiences and executive functioning. Those executive functions are kind of a set of skills, and those skills underlie the capacity to plan, meet goals, display self-control, follow multi-step directions, and really stay focused despite any distractions in your environment. And that really kind of drove me into this area. But on a personal level, in addition to that, I spend a great deal of time working with adults that live with neurocognitive conditions, specifically those individuals who suffer from a traumatic brain injury. This work is something I've done since my early days as an undergrad in psychology, and I've been doing it for about 10 years, where I work with nonprofits and even the state of Washington, volunteering as a support group facilitator. And I learned a great deal from those individuals about perseverance, really what it means to be authentic, and how to overcome obstacles. And a lot of those individuals, they suffered from a great deal of trauma and a great deal of mood instability. And so I was inspired by them. I was inspired by what they could do just through shared community. And that's really what moved me into the type of work that I do today. What somebody can do between therapy sessions to make progress is probably the most important thing out of everything, because the real work happens outside of therapy sessions. And outside of therapy sessions is when you practice what's been reviewed, what's been taught, and what's been discussed in the session. As I mentioned earlier, the real work is done outside of those sessions, and I can't emphasize that enough. Whether we're exploring past trauma from a psychodynamic or cognitive processing approach, or learning new skills via DBT or acceptance commitment therapy, it's vital to stay consistent and to do the work, because that's where you'll see optimal results. Well, a self-care practice that I tend to utilize in my everyday life, to be honest, is exercise. And I know that's kind of a catch-all for everybody. It's kind of out there, and everybody says you got to exercise more. But truthfully, I found it to be the most effective way of regulating my own emotions and helping me stay consistent over long periods of time. In addition to that, also spending quality time with loved ones. I'm a big supporter in the notion of quality over quantity. It's not about how much time you spend taking care of yourself, it's about the quality of time you spend taking care of yourself. That's what really optimizes your overall health, psychologically and otherwise. So some effective coping strategies to manage trauma during those stressful times in your life. I can't I can't emphasize this enough. There are a multitude of different things one could do, but at the heart of it, at the core of it, kind of the foundation, is really setting realistic self-care goals, like eating healthy, exercising regularly, and especially getting enough sleep as best you can. This will help you reduce the vulnerability of any sort of emotional dysregulation you might be having. Not to say that it won't still happen, but this will help you manage it better. In addition to that, the best thing you can do for yourself is ground yourself in the moment. Remember to, as I like to say to clients, check the facts of the situation you're within. This can be further enabled using self-soothing techniques like breathing exercises or other techniques like engaging your five senses, and even spending time with loved ones. There's something that I often tell my clients, and I try to emphasize this pretty clearly, that the most important commodity on this planet are the relationships we have with one another. They help enrich us, and they help calm us, and they help make us feel like we're in the moment with others. And that can create a sense of safety to help manage your trauma symptoms.